Welcome to the Stuff and Things Podcast, your home for all stuff related to your favorite things in entertainment. Now, here are your hosts.
It is the ominous tones of the Acolytes. I am Sam, this is the Stuff and Things podcast, and joining me to discuss the series, season, potentially finale of the Acolyte, it's Stefan.
Hello there.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing alright, how are you?
I've been poorly sick.
You're still poorly sick?
Well, I'm getting a bit better.
Oh, good. If everyone could send well wishes to Sam at stuffandthingspodcast.com.
Yeah, the doctor said I'd live, but he didn't recommend it.
No, he just needs lots of ego rubbing. That's all he needs. If you could all send them to Sam at stuffandthingspodcast.com, it'll make Sam feel better. There we go.
Oh, you're a prick today. What a start. No, it's like that, is it? Okay, all right. Listen, grab a granny. There's no need for this at all. Okay, so we are discussing the Acolyte Ep8, and the title of the episode was...
No, you've already said it. The Acolyte.
Well, yeah, but the title of the episode was...
The Acolyte.
Yeah, but the title... Yes, the show, but the title of the episode was...
Well, if you go on to Disney Plus early in the morning, it was just episode 8.
Yeah, that was still there on the evening. Like, that was like, why aren't you showing us? Like, IMDb
why won't you tell us?
I'm still convinced that at some point it's going to change and we're going to be like looking like idiots doing this show, calling it The Acolyte.
Yeah.
But the title of episode 8 of the show called The Acolyte is called The Acolyte.
The Acolyte, yeah. Which, when you see that, it does just make you think, like, if we come on here tomorrow and The Boys season 4 finale is called The Boys, then we know something's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's people are pegging the test. That's what it is.
It's just the finale. No, don't call it like that. Just give it a name. Yeah.
Yeah, the last one. Oh, cheers.
Yeah. Is it the end? Question mark. Yeah.
Now, this show has been negative review bombed. A lot of content creators who I've never really liked anyway have just hated on it to a degree that I just can't believe that anyone would spend that much time and energy hating something. And a lot of content creators who I really like have even gone in two-footed on it, and I just don't... Like, I struggle to see where the logic is. Now... Yeah,
I mean, I've just checked my good old friends over at IMDb, and you can scroll down to the bottom of an episode page, and it comes up with, like, connections of anything that's connected to that episode.
Yeah.
And some people have taken the time to link their, like, obviously their podcasts or whatever. They've connected it to this.
Oh, okay.
And, they've called it the final roast of the Acolyte, immediate reaction. And the next one, the nightcap, the final nail in the coffin. The Acolyte is the ultimate Disney Star Wars disaster. And I'm like, really? Really? This is the ultimate disaster? Really?
So,
like,
there's a lot.
Why take this much time to put that much hate in? Like, come on, lean to the dark side.
It's interesting to me that there is one, I didn't know you could do that. So that's
I've only just found out. Stuff and Things is going to be all over that.
Yeah. All right. So circle back to that later. But the other thing that I just find really, really bizarre is, I've watched it. I'm a Star Wars fan. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not to the level of some people, certainly not, but I've read the books, I've watched everything, including the animated shows. I did struggle with Rebels because I find the animation style a bit cutesy. I've not watched the stuff that is genuinely aimed at kids. Like,
you've not watched the Young Tales or whatever it is, yeah?
No, I genuinely find it a struggle to get into animated things for adults. With the exception of The Simpsons, Family Guy and stuff like that, which is just straight out comedies, sketch shows basically. But when it comes to like a drama or anything like that, I do find it a little bit difficult to get into. So the Clone Wars was something that just constantly people would say to me, it's like, oh, you need to watch it. Like, you need to get past your animation thing, because once you do, you're going to realise how important it is.
Yep.
And once I did, I genuinely was hooked. I think there's 7 seasons of that show, which were all available on Disney Plus when I watched it, and I went through it in a few weeks. Like, I was watching several episodes a day.
Yeah.
And loved it. I absolutely loved it, start to finish. It really fleshed out characters. It really showed a side to it. It really bridged the gap between the films, where we saw this whiny teenage wannabe Anakin become a very solid warrior by the end of the Clone Wars. And you kind of realise that the manipulation that pushed him over the edge in that film, in Revenge of the Sith, had been built for the entire Clone Wars. Like, you literally saw...
It wasn't a one-off meeting and them having a conversation. It was years worth of...
Yeah, just manipulation, tiny little events, bits where, like, people were peeled away from him, like his apprentice, etc. So it was very well done. It was really excellent. It also told us why the clones turned, you know... It was brilliant. Yep. It really did fill in everything. It really did tell us what we wanted to know. And yeah, so I'm a Star Wars fan. I really am. And there are some things in Star Wars that I like more than others, definitely. The sequel trilogy, there are parts of it that I really enjoyed, like really, really enjoyed. Mostly Episode 7. And then there's bits of it that I didn't enjoy. Mostly Episode 8. And then there's bits...
I think quite on that.
Yeah, so it just... No, I'm just saying, because I think there's a way that you can look at these things and go, look, I like that, I don't like that. But that's you just giving your personal preference, and that's fine. I didn't ever... At least I don't feel I ever just sort of went all in to try and destroy people's work. Because, I mean, it's true, I've never watched anything by Rian Johnson since... He does this.
Yeah, you see that name, you just go.
Yeah, he does the Knives Out films, and everyone keeps telling me to watch them. I'm like, nope, you ruined it for me. But yeah, so going back to this, I mean, when I'm watching The Acolyte, I'm enjoying it. I'm seeing new characters with some ones that I'm aware of spattered in there as well. I had the one big quibble about the age and date of birth of one character, but they amended it. And my only real quibble of that is that annoyed me is because they sold me a book with all of this is like, this is the Star Wars Bible. Everything in here is fact. Everything is the Disney Star Wars Bible, but we're going to change it. But you're not having your 30 quid back. So, I mean, that annoyed me, but surely that would annoy anyone. Imagine.
Yeah, that would be up there, to be fair, wouldn't it?
Because, like, you know, it's all fiction. So, yeah, stuff can be changed and altered. And you can also, if you want a story tell, you can also be a bit of, well, you know, all of these dates of birth and records of these people, how long they lived, all from an unreliable narrator and stuff like that.
It's all from thought processing. And, you know, it's not actually fact. Yeah, you can do it lots of different ways. But I think that was pretty much the only big quibble, really, wasn't it? Like the whole kind of, wait a minute, what's he doing?
Yeah. I mean, I do have one for the finale.
Oh, okay.
I do have one, which is like, so I am just going to say I have been poorly, and I apologise. I am going to try my very, very best to edit out any coughs, any spluttering, sneezes, or anything on my end. If any do seep
that mean
through...
you sneeze, I've got to not say bless you because you're going to edit it out.
Yeah, so apologies to... Well, I'm hoping to hit the mute button. So if I suddenly go quiet at any point and then I return quickly, that's why. Also, I got to say that just because of all the blessings of, you know, everything, next door neighbours are having their roof fixed, and my podcasting room is exactly attached to where the builders are on scaffolding right now. So if there's any construction noise comes through, I apologise. I can't do anything about it.
I'm looking forward to the noise. That'd be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great when you got a screaming headache. Yeah. So
Oh,
let's
mate.
get stuck in. I'm going
Yes.
to walk through my notes as I've got them, and we're going to discuss it as we go. I want to start
Okay.
with the stranger who's called Khmer. Khmer, Q hyphen MIR.
Come
Khmer,
here.
Khmer,
Come here.
Khmer and
Come here.
Osha. Yeah. See,
Yeah.
with a Bristolian accent, it just sounds like I'm
Come
asking
here.
someone to come over here. Oi, come here. Yeah. Um, he and Osha. There's a scene with the helmet. What did you make of that scene? It basically this episode picks up basically from the one before last week's bottle episode, which does irk me a little bit, but we're just going to
Yeah,
brush
no,
past that.
yeah. Yeah, that was slightly, yeah. Um, so yeah, she's having some sort of force moment in the helmet.
Yeah,
And then he enters the room and it's like, oh, okay, she's trying to help. Oh, something wrong's going. So it's going wrong. And then he's
yeah,
kind of affected. She's repelling him with the force to kind of
yeah.
stop him being able to get. It's a bit strange.
Well,
I'm watching it and
she,
I'm like, what's happening? And then his eyes do the weird, like the glossing over thing that
yeah,
happened to the Jedi when her mum was controlling him.
yeah,
And I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. And then he pulls the helmet off and it stops. And I was like,
yeah. So,
foreshadowing? Or
well,
what just happened?
so what is interesting to me in that is he says to her, "This is a sensory deprivation helmet where you put this on and you are just one with the Force. Like you can, your eyes, your ears, everything, all your senses are gone. It's just the
Yep.
Force." So she does it, and then she is literally just trying to reach out using the Force to, sense everything. Now, we see her obviously then tap into the Force, and it is powerful. And not only does she create this power, she then has a vision. And he says to her, "Well, that's the future." Uh, what's kind of funny to me then is what happens next, which is we have always understood. And by the way, this is something I'm seeing a lot of complaints about, which is making me kind of smile. Because I think the whole purpose of this show is actually being lost on the people complaining. And that is that they're
Most
like,
likely.
well, he doesn't seem evil. He's like, why would he not just kill her and go off to the other one? Why didn't he just do this? He's not being evil. Like he killed all of those other Jedi. Why didn't he just kill this one? Well,
I mean, he killed all the other ones because they were literally going to kill him.
yeah,
That was kill or be killed.
yeah,
That was, and at the moment, Osha doesn't really pose any threat to him.
no,
Like, she's not going to kill him. She's just there because he found her passed out and damaged, and he's brought her back and kind of helped heal her up and get her back to full health and everything else. So he's not really. She's no danger to him, so he has no reason to try and kill her.
yeah. I mean,
And all he wants is a pupil. That's all he wants. So if
yeah,
he's got her there and he's like, I can sense a dark. He's already said that he can sense like the anger and stuff in her. So he's
yeah,
probably thinking to himself, this is it. This is my little trainee. Here we go.
yeah. And I mean, she basically says, "I know where they are, so we're gonna go together." And he's like, "Okay, we'll just see which one of us gets to your sister first." What? But it's like this thing where there's this narrative in this show, which I think's important, and I think it's something they did in the Clone Wars, but Dave Filoni made that, so everyone's happy with it. But a woman
Yeah.
made this, and now everyone's complaining. Is that the Jedi aren't all amazing, aren't all good? There are a lot of them that make mistakes, a lot of them that fuck up, and the idea that this whole Jedi Order was some sort of perfection is a story that the Jedi project, not the reality. So this
Yes.
series is trying to demonstrate that. It's also trying to demonstrate that people who are Force users, the what was it they referred to? A witch's Force cult? They
Yep.
weren't actually harming anyone. They were away by themselves. They found an isolated world to live, so they weren't with anyone else. They were just trying to exist and practice what they wanted to practice. They just wanted to be who they are. And then the Jedi
Yeah,
rocked
they
up.
were happy living on this barren island, the
Yeah,
barren planet. Leave us alone. We're happy here. Not a
yeah.
problem.
Exactly.
And
then
the Jedi rocked up and messed it all up. Yeah.
now Quamir quite, almost famously says when he's confronted by Sol, and initially, he says to him, he said, "Well, you would probably call me a Sith, but like I just want to exist. Like you're the Jedi, you're the ones with the rules. I want to be able to practice the Force the way I want to. Like you're the ones stopping me." So
Yeah.
it's an interesting perspective and it's an interesting debate. I mean, you can have views on it, and you can certainly have a view of like, no, that's nonsense. The Sith are all evil. They kill people. They do this. They do that. And yeah, that's certainly, you're valid in that opinion. But to berate the show for trying to flesh that out and to try and give you a different perspective, that doesn't make sense to me. Like the best villains, the best people ever are the ones that you can see why
You
they
can
are
connect
that.
with in a sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Darth Vader is probably one of the most iconic, greatest villains in movie history. But it's Anakin.
Yes.
It's Anakin.
Yeah.
The reason
Yeah.
why, once you know that's Anakin, and then once you get to know Anakin, once you know all that stuff, it's just incredibly sad. It's
Yeah, he
heartbreaking.
is just a damaged person who has been manipulated and
Tortured
turned into
everything,
that. Yeah.
And the Emperor is like probably the personification as close as you can to evil. So
Yes.
it's just interesting, like that people complain so much about stuff, and yet if you apply it to the rest of Star Wars, it's actually no different than what you've already been told.
Yep.
But on
Agreed.
this, they jump in their ship and they head off. And as they
I love
head
the fact
off,
she's like, I'm not telling you anything. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
telling you where we're going. We're just going together. It's like,
Yeah.
there's no trust there. Now,
Well,
I was
there wouldn't
watching
be.
this. As I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, so she wants to go and save her sister and kind of keep her sister safe. And I'm like, is he going to kill May, or is he going to make May like fulfill the deal sort of thing? I really couldn't at this point. Watching it, I
well,
couldn't quite put my finger on what side it was going to go.
She had a vision of May killing
Without a weapon.
Sol without a weapon. We now know the vision was her.
Yes.
However, so when she said that, he was like, "Oh, kills without a weapon." And by the way, why in the hell did it take me until the 8th episode, when it actually happened, for me to go, "Oh, killing without a weapon, force choke"? Like, why is that? Like, why did
I'm
that...
laughing because I'm exactly the same.
The most
I've watched all
obvious
these
thing.
episodes. Watched all these episodes, going, how the hell do you kill someone without using a weapon? Like, what do you do? Do you have to push them off? Do you push them off a cliff?
Well, do you like trick them into because she got that guy to drink the poison? Is that not killing him without a weapon? Like,
yeah, technically that must count. Like, she didn't. Is poison a weapon?
No, it was a force choke.
And then she force choked him, and literally was like light bulb.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
Duh.
It's like sometimes something's so obvious, you're like looking everywhere. Well, it can't be that.
Yeah. How can you kill without a weapon? Oh, use Vader's most famous thing, the force choke. Yeah.
So I think when he hears that vision, he's like, "Oh, May does it. May can do it." So he's going to bring her back as his acolyte. I don't know why I think she's going to stop her and possibly even kill her before she hurts Sol. That, I think...
Oh, okay. You think she's going to protect Sol?
Yeah, definitely, because
I thought she was going to protect May.
No, because she says, doesn't she, like, the future's not set, I've got time to stop her.
Yeah, I'd see when it was stop her, I generally thought it was stop her in kind of a, save her from herself sort of thing.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, it could take it either way. But as their ship flies off, we see a very creepy-ass hand come out from the darkness.
Yeah, we do.
And then a face appear.
Yeah, we do.
For all these Star Wars purists, that is the first time in live action on screen we have seen Darth Plagueis.
Yeah, it is. And my gosh, did Wikipedia update itself damn quick?
Oh, did it?
Oh yeah, like I watched that at about 9 o'clock in the morning. I watched the show. I watched it with breakfast at my desk. So I watched it early because I didn't want any spoilers. Because on our Discord channel, which is fantastic, and you can talk about all your shows you like. A certain person called Mr. Ryan, he watches the episodes on his way to work on the trains and stuff.
Yeah.
So you get a message at like 8 in the morning. Oh my God, that was amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. So I was like, right, it's a finale. I'm not having it spoiled. I'm watching it early.
Okay.
And I watched it. I got to the end of the episode and I was like, that must have been who I think it was. So I instantly went on to Wikipedia and looked it up. And yeah, by then it's already got like early life or something. It's got a bit in there about him watching The Stranger and leaving the planet in their spaceship. And I was like, damn, that was quick.
Now, what's interesting to me about this, or what is the question is, putting that character in is interesting. Putting it in seems to have wanged a lot of people up, like, oh, why just put him in like that? It's a waste. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. But
yeah,
do you think he has any influence on Khmer, or do you think he is literally just stalking them? He just happens to be there.
Well, that I'm not entirely. I think it was more like a stalking thing because it's the law of two, isn't it? The rule of two. So therefore, he now has the Stranger, and Osha. So that is now the two.
Yeah. So
therefore, what is his role? Like it says on the Wikipedia, instantly it was in 132 BBY. Plagueis was present on the island, on an island on a planet inhabited by the Sith Lord known as the Stranger.
Okay.
While there, he lurks in the shadows of the Stranger's cave abode as he observes the Stranger and the former Jedi Padawan Ferosha and Asaya depart from the planet in their ship. And that was put on there like instant. That was like, that was 9 o'clock in the morning sort of thing. That was already on there.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. So by the sounds of that, he was just kind of
lurking,
just hiding and lurking. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But then my favourite thing is if you click on the OSHA link, it comes up with, I have a bad feeling about this. This article has multiple issues and in need of major additions and or work.
Oh, right.
It's like, okay, they've not put anything for her on there just yet then. Okay.
No, what I'd say is a lot of people have probably written all sorts.
And they're having to fix it, yeah. So, but from that, I mean, that is a massive cameo. To have him appear in live action, that is huge.
Yeah.
The fact it was such a short little cameo, surely that should make you go, oh, okay, what's he doing? I want to know more. And not make you go, oh, why are you showing him in it?
For me, it's like this finale, a lot of it was give us season 2. Like, it just felt like give us another season.
Give us season 2, or at least give us more stories from this timeline, which I don't mind if it's based on, like, you could base it on 3 or 4 completely different characters.
Well, I think
it at the same time with the crossover sort of thing,
When you look at the way this ended, it's very much set up for a season 2.
I think so. Whether they're going to get it or not is another thing altogether, but I think it was definitely set up for the season 2.
So the next part of my notes is Sol and May are talking on the ship. She gets him talking and then escapes. And he chases her.
Mm-hmm.
She gets to a drop ship and leaves, and he's pursuing her in his ship. He then... See, this is the thing that's confusing me in this. He appears to be locking guns on her.
Yes, he does.
So, is he planning to kill her in that moment?
I wasn't sure if he was looking to kill her or to disable the ship. However, if you disable the ship and it's just floating around in middle of space, not ideal.
No.
The bit that confused me is what little Basil's doing.
Well, this is the next thing I was going to ask, because I don't understand what Soul's thinking in this moment, and he's either gonna shoot her down and kill her, because the way I see it, there's only two options in this: pursuit, see where she goes, and try and follow her and reason with her, whatever,
Yep.
or shoot her down. If you shoot her down in those rings, which was a stunning visual, by the way,
Oh, it's great.
odds are she's dead. Like, the ship, like, lose power, she'll burn up in an atmosphere. It doesn't make sense.
If it's not smashed apart by the asteroids that she's trying to avoid. Yeah.
So
disabling is pretty much out of the question, which means he's going for the kill shot.
So Basil disables the weaponry on the ship, so he can't do it.
He disables everything by the looks of it, because the ship starts kind of spinning out, and he was. See, now don't get me wrong, I still want a Basil. I think they're awesome little characters.
Yeah.
Like I want a pet Basil. Can you say pet Basil? Because I'm guessing he's like a living, like an actual thing. He's not really like a cat or a dog. He is a living human, like not human, but being. So maybe not pet. Maybe not a pet, but I want him as an associate. You know.
Yeah.
His main job in all of this he's literally a tracker.
Yeah.
You know, you sniff this, you go find this, and that's all we've seen of the whole way through.
Yeah.
All of a sudden now, after humping her leg in his weird little attack that he did a couple of episodes ago, he's now stopping Soul from potentially shooting her down.
Yeah.
And there is absolutely zero explanation that I witnessed given as to why.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't get it. It's like we've missed a conversation or something somewhere.
The only thing I can think of is that he's protecting Soul from himself. As a Jedi, killing someone unarmed, attacking someone.
Yeah. It's not the Jedi way.
But it is still a strange moment, which didn't.
It's like there's been a conversation. There's been a conversation between May and Basil somewhere, and like we've missed or something, and he's just protected her because of it or something. It's you say, trying to stop Soul from turning to the dark side, I guess, in an unattacked and unarmed person.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just feels like there's a little bit of explanation there missing somewhere.
It was odd. Now they arrive back from where it all started, and Soul is looking for May. Quimir and Osha arrive, and we have probably one of my favourite lightsaber fights in all of Star Wars, which is Soul versus Quimir. What did you think about it?
Mate, you know me. Any lightsaber battle I love.
Yeah.
Like, I am a proper geek for that sort of thing. But them two, the fight these two have had, the last one we saw a couple of episodes ago, and this one have just been fantastic.
I agree.
Like, they're such good. Visually, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
And the fact that of all the lightsabers in Star Wars so far that we've seen, I'm now fairly convinced that the Strangers is my favourite lightsaber.
Because of the dagger part?
The dagger thing. Just literally clicks it apart, and I'm like, yep, I will be going online to try and find one of those two.
I think whoever did the choreography for the lightsaber fights in the Acolyte deserves all the praise.
Yeah.
It is just incredible, and even there was a little bit of sort of crouching tiger, hidden dragon moment.
The flying off the bridge,
slow down sort of thing. I loved that. I loved how, like, a lot of people have just been really highly critical of Soul as like he's a crap Jedi. He hasn't been able to sense this. He hasn't been able to do that. I feel
like I'm partly guilty.
I feel like we're actually seeing is someone who's conflicted. I feel like his emotions, his love for these girls, for whatever reason, it was like instant. It was like an instant connection. And he loves... he even goes to tell Osha at the very end, I did this because I love... And then she jokes him. So I think he's not a bad Jedi in terms of how powerful he is. You look at him with a saber, look at him, I mean, that thing where he throws both sabers, he's then running at him, so he's got stuff coming at him from 3 different angles. Now, we literally saw in the opening episode, Jedi and Dara, Trinity Jedi, basically focusing in one direction and then getting killed for something coming from another. Soul,
and he manages to kind of do like a force push all around and concentrate on both the stranger and the two blades coming at him.
Yeah,
that was a cool visual.
It was fantastic, and then instantly, the stranger brings the two sabers straight back to him, straight back to the fight. It just, everything was just so smooth. Like, Soul would put the saber away, do something with the force, he'd do that, and then the saber would come straight back out, and he'd sort of ignite it in a like martial arts pose. He was a samurai in this. The way he was fighting, the sort of style, the way he was holding the blade.
Very much kind of that I think was very much the look they were going for, at least.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. And also, something that I don't think people are going to give credit for, but was clearly designed because of the comments that were made. Khmer, his style was pure rage. It was like throwing it, like, come on, you bastard, like swinging it, like, for anger. I mean, it was the way they were, like, the Jedi when he was ripping through them were like, there's no kind of style to it. It's just all over the place. Well,
it's just pure rage of just trying to hit. Like, it always looks like when the Jedi are fighting stuff, it's always kind of like block, 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 block.
Yeah.
Kind of, when he was fighting, it was very much a case of, I'm going to put the lightsaber through your head.
Well, Jedi draw their saber to protect life. A Sith draws it to take life, and that was always a thing. And I think
very much in this battle. Yeah.
What another thing which I found really interesting and I thought was excellent detail was on 3 occasions that I noticed he went to try and headbutt the saber to use his helmet in the way he did the first time round, and Soul moved. Soul had learned.
The one I really caught on was when their sabers are together in the famous cross.
Yeah.
And they're getting closer and closer.
Yeah.
And Soul makes a move which then gets his lightsaber behind him instead of in front. And I was like, okay. That was the bit that made me go, he's learned. He's learned this. Okay.
He's learned the lesson. And again, that was excellent. That's like a little detail that a lot of people might not have picked up on, but it just goes to show the level of detail they went into with this. Yeah. Whilst they are fighting, Osha confronts May, and they have a scrap. What did you think about that?
And Osha blocks. Osha has learned to block. Yeah. That was the main bit I picked up from that. I was like, Osha's angry because she's even blocking.
That was literally that is like literally my only takeaway from that as well.
Osha has learned the block. Yeah, May didn't get that all her own way.
Soul gets on top. He takes out Khmer's saber. He's holding a blade to him. Now, there's a little interesting thing. A little bit earlier, Soul had reactivated his tracker, and Vernestra and a team of Jedi are on their way. During this moment, Soul sees the Jedi and says, "You're going to pay for what you did." And he says, "They're not here for me."
Yeah.
That's so good.
That's a proper bad guy line. I love that. Yeah, they're not here for me. Makes you go, oh, wait a minute.
He knows. He knows the way the Jedi work. And he knows they're going to want to cover all this up. And the best way they can do that is to pin it all on Soul.
Yep.
So he has that moment. Now, Soul is stopped. I don't think he's going to kill him. I think he's just holding his saber there. I could be wrong, but I think he's just holding him when May shows up, tackles him, throws his saber, and you see the saber crack slightly, so you can actually see the kyber crystal. Why they showed us that initially, I thought, was to show us that the saber was broken. The reason they actually showed us that was fantastic, which I'll come on to.
Oh my god, wasn't it? Oh my god! Yeah, this was a Star Wars geek out moment. This was we're going to get to. Yeah.
So she basically gets him to confess because she clocks her sister arrive in the background. And once he confesses, she walks out picking up the saber. And I'm like, she's going to kill him. She's going to kill him with the saber. And he's talking and she says, just stop talking. And he goes to say, it's because I literally went to say I loved you. And all of a sudden he starts choking. And I realise, That's how you kill someone without a weapon, you dumbass. I could have worked that out.
That was the
Jesus.
penny drop, and that
Yeah.
was the penny dropping of like, oh, like that. Okay.
Yeah. And then you realise that wasn't her vision. Her vision wasn't May doing this. Her vision was her.
Yeah.
She's got him down on his knees, her arm outstretched, and she does kill him. There was a moment where I was thinking, like, are they really going to kill off this guy? He's probably been the best character. Yeah, he's dead. Okay.
They won't do. Oh, they have. One of those moments.
I liked it. I genuinely liked it from a storytelling point of view. I think he had to go for several reasons. One, he did make a lot of mistakes. I think he suffered because of that, and I think he genuinely was a good person wanting to do good, but he did make a lot of mistakes.
Now, he made one glaringly obvious mistake.
Okay.
And I can't quite work out why he didn't rectify it.
Okay.
He's spent all this time with May on the spaceship.
Yeah.
And he's had conversations with, like, even that moment there before he dies.
Yeah.
With Osha. And his genuine belief is that he killed their mother in that moment because she was starting to disappear or disapparate, if you want to go Harry Potter, whatever you want to do. And May started to disappear as well.
Yeah.
And in that moment, he thought that she was killing May, so he tried to save them.
Well, that's what we think.
That's
genuinely, that's what we believe. But
at no point does he try and tell either of the sisters, I thought she was killing you, or I thought you were going to die, or I killed her because she was making you like, at no point does he mention that, and I'm like,
I think he was trying. I actually think he was trying because he told her, "You're not sisters. You're not twins. You're not twins. You're not sisters. You were created." I think what he was trying to get to was, your mother was basically uncreating you. I believe that's what she was doing. I saw you vanishing in front of my eyes. So I think
that's what he was getting to?
I think he was laying the groundwork to get to it because he was. But at the same time, like, this little girl saw him stab her mother. I think he's haunted by that. I think part of him believes he should be punished for that.
I'm just like, surely you would lead with, she was killing you. What? At least that would give you like a second to kind of explain yourself.
Yeah,
you should have mentioned that at some point.
It's one of those interesting things where you're quite right, but at the same time,
like, she's on the spaceship and she's kind of like, he's got all the binds on her, and he should be turned around and going, "Listen, what you saw is what you saw. No, let me tell you why I did it," or something.
Well, you're absolutely right, but what I would say, and I often think of this when I spot things like this in shows, how many times in your life have you had a confrontation or something, and then hours after, weeks after, you're like, oh, I should have done this. Oh, I should have said that.
Such a good line.
This is what I should have done. And so we always kind of, because we know it's scripted, it's like, oh, that's poor writing, he should have said this. I don't think it is. I think it's the reality of people. I think sometimes you are trying to get the words out, and let's face it, she literally stopped him from getting the words out.
Oh yeah, at that point, definitely the force choke. Yeah.
Now, while she's choking him and killing him, we see the saber, and the crystal within the saber starts to turn red.
Yeah.
Now that is incredible. I love that. Now, the process.
The bleeding crystal. Yeah.
Well, the process for a kyber crystal turning red is called bleeding. Now, years ago, I saw that term and thought, oh, okay, I never need to look into that anymore. Bleeding. They obviously basically put their blood or whatever into the crystal and it turns it red. No, that's not it. The process of bleeding is you put all of this negative emotion, anger, pain, all of this stuff, and you channel it with the force into the crystal and it turns it red. So she's gripping that saber whilst choking out soul. All of that anger, all of the negative emotion is turning the saber red. And when Khmer approaches him, how stunning was that visual of her drawing the saber and it gradually going from blue to red?
That was awesome. That was so awesome. Now, I didn't realise. I had to then, like, I knew bits about the whole bleeding of the crystals and stuff like that. I didn't know massive amounts.
Yeah.
After I saw that, I didn't realise that's why Ahsoka has got white lightsabers. Because she has taken the red crystals and healed them with the light side of the Force, like a reverse of it, and it turns them white.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that either.
She's a badass.
Yeah, she is. But yeah, so to have the actual visual of the lightsaber coming out and then changing to the red, I was like, oh, that is damn cool.
It was. It was
like,
very cool.
That alone should have stopped all the negativity about this show. Just that one visual, people going, oh my God, that's awesome. That should have been enough.
But no. Back on Coruscant, Vanestra's being quizzed by a senator. This particular senator, who's a great actor, by the way, calls the Jedi out big time. What did you think about that?
He does not hold anything back at all, does he?
But he's not wrong.
She's like, no, he's not. No, because he's like, I think the Jedi are a massive system of unchecked power, posing as a religion, a delusional cult that claims to control the uncontrollable. And it's like, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not. From what we have seen so far, just in this show, you're not wrong at all.
Not wrong at all. And also, if you then foreshadow that forward, it's just going to take one of you to snap.
Yeah,
literally. So that was interesting. A little bit sad that appeared in episode 8. Like, I know it's been mentioned a few times, there's this senator who wants to do this review of the Jedi. But that could have been an interesting side story for me. We talk about Vanestra arriving on the planet, and me and you kind of worked out already that Quimir was her apprentice. It's confirmed when she gets off the ship and sort of closes her eyes to sense, and he immediately looks up as well and puts his helmet on, and she goes, "It's you. I thought you were dead."
Yeah, oh shit, it's him. Yeah.
Yeah, that was...
The moment, I love the moment actually more with him, where he kind of looks up, senses it, and goes, oh crap, come on,
Yeah. Yeah, which...
No!
Yeah, which is interesting. Like, is he afraid?
I don't know. It came across a kind of almost like he was afraid of her, like tracking him down.
Yeah.
And then we see scenes later where he stood in the shadows just watching.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is he afraid of her? Because obviously we've seen the scars on his back, which look very much like they came from her.
Yeah.
Or is it fear? Is there still a level of kind of respect as, you were my master, and that's why he just kind of stays in the shadows watching her? Yeah. I'm not quite sure, but it was, again, damn cool.
It was. The team of Jedi find Sol dead. We see her attend to him. And we see the Acolyte, we see Quimir watching. She senses him, but he's gone.
Yes.
Osha and May escape together, following the path that May took when she was little. Quimir finds them and is kind of like, look, if I can find you, the Jedi can find you. What are you doing? They say, like, we're going to hand ourselves in to the Jedi, tell him what Sol did. And he's like, really? After everything you've seen, you're still trusting the Jedi? And May kind of points out, as soon as they realise how powerful you are, they're going to kill you, like they did Mum. And at that moment, you tell me who's the bad guys.
See, this is the thing, isn't it? Like, this is what this show has done so well, I think.
Yeah.
Is that it has taken us from going, well, the Jedi are good. Look at Obi-Wan. Look at Qui-Gon. Look at Luke. The Jedi are the good guys.
Yep.
And made us look at them and go, are they good? Like, they believe they are the good guys, but then at the same time, every villain believes what they are doing is for the right reasons.
Well, Vernestra is very questionable for me. Vernestra...
There's something with her, isn't there? There's something there that just make everything she does.
Yeah. Like,
even in this where we've seen her already kind of like frame things and, oh no, it's nothing. Don't worry. Like, we've got it all under control. Yeah. And then what she does at the end of this episode, and you kind of watch it, you go, I can understand she's doing it to protect the Jedis.
Yeah.
However, there's something there that just makes me kind of go, something's not quite,
So
you know?
yeah, so there's a moment here which is kind of it's a bit odd for me, where May just happily volunteers to have her memory wiped, and Khmer can do it with a simple, there you go, memory wiped.
Yeah.
That felt a little bit weird. Like
That
the
to me
Sith
felt very much of, oh shit, there's only 10 minutes left.
if the Sith had that power, surely they could have been doing that a long time to protect themselves. And maybe they have, and maybe that's how they've managed to stay hidden. But it just kind of felt like, yeah, that needs to be elaborated on a little bit more.
Every Jedi ever finds them. You did not see me here.
Yeah,
I didn't see anyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't see anyone.
This is not the Sith you're looking for.
Yeah, in essence, I mean, like, again, everyone accepted in the very first Star Wars film that Ben Kenobi could just wave his hand and people would be influenced by him. So why would?
But he says about the weak mind. Like, it only works on the weak-minded.
Yeah,
May's very clearly May's not weak-minded.
But this is a different thing, and it's also the dark side of the Force, which is, we all know, more powerful.
This is true. And does it help the fact that she's willing? Like,
probably.
Does it make it easier with the fact that she is willing to have it happen?
Probably.
And there's no resistance or anything against it. Does it make it easier?
Yeah.
But still, yeah, it's something that makes you think, why was this not being done more often? Like,
well, and again, this could be something which could be fleshed out, but whether they'll get the chance or not, I don't know.
It's again, I think, again, it's one of those little problems you have whenever you make a prequel to something.
Yeah.
Whenever you make a prequel, you always are going to run into that issue of, that's really cool. Why have we not seen that again? Like, you know, the whole head-butting helmet thing to turn off lightsabers.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Why did no one else think of that?
Well,
or, you know.
Again, and this is something where we do actually, there's a lot of novels out there which Disney made non-canon, and you had fighters with this particular metal was gauntlets, and not, rather than a helmet where you'd headbutt the saber, you'd use the gauntlet and you'd block the saber, and that would short it, and then obviously you know, smash it.
Oh, okay. Still, I haven't read the novels and stuff.
Yeah, so that is kind of something that's embedded in Star Wars quite heavily.
Cool. Okay, just not being brought to screen.
It's not been brought to screen until this, and it was like when I saw it, I was like, why am I not remembering what this is? Because I'd never seen it as a helmet.
Yeah.
Vernestra goes in front of the Chancellor and the Republic Senate and blames everything on Sol. We then see a flashback to her over his body, basically apologising to his dead body for what she's about to do. I mean, I'm just kind of, I'm not surprised. Like, I knew she was going to try and cover everything up. The minute she sensed...
The way he does it, it was like, ooh.
The minute she sensed her former apprentice on that planet, I knew, like, she was going to be trying to cover up. So, Vernestra blames everything on Sol. That particular senator we see is just like, look, this is evidence that I'm right. We need to review the Jedi. But probably the biggest talking point from this episode amongst lovers and haters alike for this show is the very, very final scene and a cameo.
The back of a head.
And this is where I am genuinely lost and a little bit confused. So, Vernestra, earlier in this episode, was trying to communicate with somebody. And the person was like, look, this is highly irregular, out of protocol. And she's like, look, I need to speak to him. Yes. I didn't know who that was. And part of me was thinking, is she trying to contact Plagueis? Is she part of the Sith herself? Like, what's going on? But no, it would appear the person she needed a meeting with, the person she needed to talk to was Master Yoda. Because she walks into the room like, sorry to disturb you, Master, but there's something I need to tell you. And we see Yoda, and then the screen goes black.
The back of his head, I have failed you, Master, or something, she says, and then, it's like the back of his head, and it's like...
She doesn't say that.
Does she not?
Does she?
If I heard it wrong. I'm not sure now.
She walked in and said, I have something to tell you.
Oh, wait. Maybe then. I thought she said I felt... Okay, this might just mean hearing
that is a massively different scene.
Right, 1 second. We're going to do the... Carry on talking. Carry on talking.
Okay. But I've got nothing to talk about, because if I've got that wrong, my whole rant's, like, dead.
No, go with your rant, because you're probably right. I have a good thing of being very wrong when it comes to this.
So it's not so much a rant, more a kind of confusion, because one of the things that I've liked about the show in the terms of the cover-up and stuff like that is the High Council for the Jedi aren't involved. This is like a sub-council that are kind of doing this, trying to keep it in-house. And so therefore, when we see a century later them refer to it as like, oh, the Sith haven't been heard from for a millennia and stuff like that, it all still tracks, because they didn't know. They don't know. Also, what we've seen...
you're right. Sorry. Here we go. Sorry to disturb you, Master. It says, she walks in the door. Sorry to disturb you, Master. And then we need to talk. And then you see the back of his head, his little ears perk up, and it's like, oh my God, it's Grogu.
No, it's not Grogu. See, this is where I got a bit of a problem. She would not be able to walk into that room and lie to him. I do not believe in a million years that Yoda would be able... I don't think she'd be able to sit in front of him and him not go, you know, lying you are. Full of shit you be.
Yeah. That, can we just point out, that would be my favourite line in all of Star Wars. Yeah. Full of shit you are.
And the fodder you stink of.
That would be amazing.
I got no doubt whatsoever that would be the case. So I can only assume she's walking into that room to say, I need to talk to you, and what's happened is this. I had an apprentice, he turned to the dark side, I tried to put him down. He's still alive. I believe he's recruited. I believe he's now got an apprentice. I think he's turned to the dark side. Houston, we got a problem.
Yes.
Now, the only saving grace I've got in my mind, which is silly, but could be just a perspective thing, is everyone that's not a Jedi using the Force, all the way through this, they don't refer to them as Sith, because I think they are so far past when the Sith existed. They're a fallen Jedi.
Yeah,
or a
Jedi
Force cult.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I must admit, I really liked that. I really like the fact that, you know, they are in a stage where everything is so peaceful and everything that the Sith are like a forgotten kind of a myth of something that used to happen. So therefore, all of their thought process is like, oh, it must just be like, you know, a fallen Jedi or a rogue cell of Jedi. And,
so,
you know, some Jedi that are making bad decisions. You know, it's not, oh my God, it's the dark side, it's the Sith. And I've really liked that about the show.
So here's the thing then. The Sith are in the Phantom Menace is the first record of a Sith is Darth Maul. That's the first record of it. And the only way they know he's a Sith is he's got a red lightsaber, he attacks Qui-Gon, he's very well schooled in the Jedi arts, and they call him a Sith. That's what happens. Why is it then that 100 or so years earlier, when someone with a red lightsaber, well schooled in the Jedi arts, starts attacking them, does no one go, oh shit, it's a Sith? And this is Yoda. Now this is the thing then that's problematic for me, because the guy who delivers the line, the Sith have been dead for millennia, or gone for a millennia, he is the one who was in the episode earlier and his date of birth's been changed, etc., etc. Right, fine, I'm just going to brush past that. But now you've got Yoda, who is, we all know, is the baddest MFer in the galaxy. He is, you know, one with the Force beyond everyone. And for him to then look at this situation and not be a bit sus would be strange to me. Like, why would Yoda not think maybe the Sith have returned? Now, of course, if they get a season 2, you could well get decent enough explanations. And we also know that the Sith, Palpatine, was able to cloud the minds of every Jedi, including Yoda, so successfully that he was able to walk around with them, have lunch, basically chat to them every single day without any of them picking up who he was.
Which still blows the mind. Yeah.
But that's how powerful he was. And that's the point that I'm trying to make here, which is
and we've now met his master.
If, for example, the Sith have the ability to wipe a mind that easily, that quickly, then when the Jedi Council are sat going, the Sith haven't been around for a millennia. Well, how do we know the Sith haven't projected that into their minds? No, you don't know us. We're not here. Oh, good, they're not here. Whew, I was worried for a minute.
Oh, mate, yeah, that changes everything.
So,
the Senator Palpatine goes into a meeting and literally the first thing he does is mind wipe.
Yeah.
And just carry on with business.
And it is a kind of...
Surely not Yoda. Well, I say surely not Yoda's mind. Yoda goes and has afternoon tea with Palpatine quite often.
Yeah, like weekly meetings between the head of the Jedi Council and the
Senate stuff, yeah.
It is not beyond. It is not beyond. I just find adding him in at the end.
I can't tell if this is like a major plot hole.
Yeah.
Or incredibly clever at how strong the Sith are. I'm really on the fence now.
Well, it could be either. But in reality, I think it was fan service. In reality, I think they just threw him in there without fault. Is what I genuinely think. I think
to that
just to get
a small cameo at the end. Yeah,
but
at least in Mando when we see Luke appear, and it's kind of like, oh my god, this Luke, and then he does all that, and then in the next series and stuff, you see kind of what had happened, and in the book and stuff like that. In this, I'm kind of like, that is literally a throwaway, 3 seconds of his ears picking up. And I'm like, Like you say, has it been done purely because so many of the fans are like, in that era, surely that means we're going to see a younger Jedi, like Yoda, surely. And then they've gone, all right, you can have him at the end. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be strange.
So, that is the Acolyte wrapped. 8 episodes. I've enjoyed it, despite what everyone else says.
I must be honest. Yeah.
I would welcome a season 2 of this show. Now, what is always interesting is kind of the streaming services. You do not get the numbers like you do with network TV, so you have to kind of rely on certain information that comes out. And one of the pieces of information that came out, which I found kind of interesting, is this show was the second most watched initially behind Ahsoka for Star Wars Disney Plus content.
Yeah.
Try and guess the show which is still ranked the lowest watched show from Star Wars Disney.
Probably the book.
Andor.
Really?
Yep. The show which was critically acclaimed and loved by all of these bloggers and all of these people who are ranting about the Acolyte is without a shadow of a doubt, by some margin, the lowest watched of any Star Wars Disney show.
And that was a good show as well, to be fair.
Fantastic. It was brilliant. But unless you were a fan of Rogue One,
it's going to lose a lot of meaning on you, yeah.
And a lot of people just didn't watch Rogue One. A lot of people didn't see the point. But
I watched Rogue One, and I must be honest, I watched Rogue One, and I wasn't blown away by it in any way, shape, or form. But I enjoyed the premise of what it.
Have you watched it a second time?
Do you know what? No, I watched it once at the cinema.
Let me tell you what happened with me. I watched Rogue One, and I was disgusted. I thought it was awful. I thought it was a spliced together footage from previous Star Wars films. It was shoddy. The story didn't make any sense, and it went nowhere. I just thought it was crap. And then I was listening to a famous DJ here in the UK, Chris Moyles, talk about stuff on the radio, and he was talking about Rogue One. And he was interviewing someone who'd starred in the film, and he said the same as what I did. And he said, and then one day it clicked to me what it was. He said it literally is a chapter before A New Hope. So you literally can watch Rogue One and then A New Hope, and all it is like a chapter before New Hope starts. And he's right. You literally
Yeah.
can watch the two side by side and create a sort of 4-hour movie, and it's seamless. And I watched it a second time with like, oh, okay, do you know what? I'm going to give it another go, just with a different mindset. And mate, it's actually a brilliant film. It is actually very,
it's one of those
very
films
good.
I need to go back and watch it again.
It is. It is actually a brilliant film, and it's probably one of my favourite Star Wars films out of every Star Wars film now, because there's actually so much in it.
I remember like one of my main things was like at the end of the film, I was like, Jesus Christ, did they have to kill everyone off? That's a bit extreme. And then watching the Star Wars, like the first of the three, and then going, oh yeah, they do speak that everyone lost their life to get them this information. It does, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm in the cinema going, Jesus Christ, depressing ending or what? Everyone dies, Jesus.
Yeah,
that's not very Star Wars.
But this is the thing: is like once I shifted my mindset on it, it is without a shadow of a doubt my favourite Star Wars film, which is why I loved Andor so much. Because again, it's this narrative: the rebels were good, rebels were amazing. Andor was, a lot of the rebellion was nasty, vicious, terrorism. Rebels by another name is terrorist. And what they were doing was hurting a lot of people, but they had to do it to bring down the Empire. And it's an interesting perspective, and the way they did it in Andor was phenomenal.
I did enjoy Andor a lot. But I enjoyed the Acolyte a lot. Bringing it back to this, I've enjoyed this show a lot, and I've enjoyed seeing new things, and I have very, very much enjoyed this period in the Star Wars kind of history.
Yeah, same.
And like I said to you, like whether they give this a second season or whether they kind of do more stories from this era and tie it together, like you got the Mandoverse with 3 or 4 different shows all linking. I don't mind if they do it that way. I don't mind if they do a season 2, but I definitely want more of this era.
We will see now from Disney, Star Wars, what they're about. Because the viewing figures for this show, we're never going to know exactly. But we know have been okay compared to other projects. Other projects were loved by the reviewers. This one wasn't. Who's in control? Are these people who got their little YouTube channels and their TikToks and their podcasts, as much as I want to, throw myself under the bus,
I'm going to say brave.
How much power do they have over influencing content? Because it shouldn't be dictated by basement dwellers. And I say that, like, throwing myself in there with, like, podcasters. I try my very best in this, just to give opinions, have fun, talk about shows that I love watching. If there's a show, like me and you talked about it before, like, oh, there's a new show coming, let's watch a few episodes. If it's good, we'll add that to our list. Actually, no, I couldn't get into it. We won't do that. Because what's the point in us talking about a show we don't enjoy? But it's Star Wars, so we're going to give the Star Wars show go. And I can tell you right now, if we got to the episode 8 of this and neither of us had liked it, we'd have said, I don't think this was aimed for us. I don't think this was for us. And that would have been as harsh as it could have got. And to see, like, a guy like, I'm not going to name him, but there's a famous guy out there with millions of followers on YouTube. And he's just loving this. Like, the attention he's gotten from hating on this show.
From hating something.
It's making him money.
Yeah.
Like, he's got millions on YouTube, and every one of his videos is getting millions of views because he's just going mental, berating this show. And it's just ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. It is such an awful statement on society and the internet that makes money.
And the funny thing is that you know full well that if me and you, we've got a Stuff and Things YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And you know full well we could do videos like literally mirroring what that person is doing.
Yeah.
However, saying how great it is and how good it is and why we're really enjoying it.
Yeah.
And we would get 20 or 30 views and about 500 comments telling us why we're wrong.
Yeah.
Whereas he does a video slating it, and he will get millions of views and millions of people going, yeah, you're right. Because someone with a big popularity has told them something, so therefore it must be correct.
Yeah. So there we go. That is the Acolyte wrapped. Whether there's going to be more, keep an eye on our social medias. As the news is announced, we will let everybody know. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. We will be back tomorrow on our podcast to discuss the finale of The Boys. We will be back.
Gosh.
We will be back next week to discuss the next episode of House of the Dragon. Keep an eye on our socials for the announcements of other shows that are coming up. The other one that's coming up very fast is a MCU movie, Deadpool and Wolverine, which is going to be a lot of fun. They announced the soundtrack for that film. Did you see that? The soundtrack's got the Greatest Showman in it?
Yeah, I saw that.
You just know that's going to be...
It's going to be, like, even just the soundtrack alone, you look at that and you go, oh, it's
Well, as it's getting closer to release, more and more cameos in it is being leaked. Of course, we still don't know how true they are, but if even a fraction of them are true, with, like, Cowboy Deadpool, Lady Deadpool and all this stuff.
Deadpool. Now, they reckon Lady Deadpool is played by Liv Blakely as well, which is even better. His wife.
Sorry, who's it played by?
His Ryan Reynolds' wife.
Yeah, what's her name?
No, because now I realise I've probably got it wrong and you're doing that thing again, so I'm not falling for it.
Her name's Blake Lively.
Blake... I'm calling her Live Blakely. Oh, mate, I have a very poorly 18-month-old and I am not sleeping.
We're going to go. I'm the ill one. He's trying to use excuses. Thank you so much for listening to us. We'll be back really soon.
May the Force be with you.
You think my campaign for an external review of the Jedi is a personal vendetta?
If you want my honest opinion, yes.
Good. Here's mine. I think the Jedi are a massive system of unchecked power, posing as a religion. A delusional cult that claims to control the uncontrollable.
We don't control the Force.
Not the Force. Your emotions.
Thank you for listening to the Stuff and Things podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. You can find us on Facebook or online. Simply search the Stuff and Things podcast to join in our conversation every week.